What generational curses are you breaking? I hope you can hear the thunder outside. I certainly can. So it's cancer season right now, and this pick a card reading idea came to me because cancer season, it's a great time to connect with our ancestors. Cancer energy is connected to the fourth house, which connects us to like our lineage, our heritage, our ancestors, our house, our homes, and our families, right? It's connected to the moon. So all of that, generational energy connected through the mother line is all found in Cancer. And it's really easy to tap into that energy during Cancer season. And not just with our ancestors, but our descendants as well. But anyway, I got the idea, to address what generational curses are we breaking, or what generational traumas are we healing in this current lifetime. And so I wanted to bring this idea over to YouTube and do a pick a card reading. Yeah. So I'm going to get started with our initial prayer. So please find yourself in a nice, relaxed position. I'm going to pause the music. I ask that our ancestors, spirit guides, and angels in the Most High protect our minds, bodies, and spirits as we receive messages from this pick a card reading. The divine knows that my intention is to align us all with healing, joy, and the most authentic versions of ourselves. I pray that the Most High blesses us with the gift of wisdom and discernment so that we are able to identify which messages are for us and how to proceed with empowered action. Yeah. I'll give you a moment to set your own prayers and to select a pile. But this will be pile number 1. This will be pile number 2. And this will be pile number 3. Alrighty, I'll see you over at your pile selections. And as a reminder, all of these decks can be found on my Amazon storefront. Today I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot, the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck, the African Goddess Rising Oracle deck, Notes from the Universe on Love and Connection, another Oracle deck, and I'll be clarifying all of these messages with the Mermaid Tarot. Alright, I love you all, and I'll see you over at your timestamps. Alrighty, if you chose pile number 1, you chose the black tourmaline crystal. I love this crystal. This crystal is great for protection and healing. Then I actually think I want to pull the camera out a little bit just to increase the amount of space that we have to see here. Okay, lovely. I'll set the oracle cards to the side, but we're going to start off with flipping the cards over. Okay. Okay, so to start, the first card that you have is the Fool card, then the Three of Pentacles in reverse, followed by the Tower card. Like right off the bat, this feels like immature conflict, right? And this can manifest itself in so many ways, right? Like the biggest way that's coming to mind right now is that like when it comes to maybe building generational wealth or like navigating finances and money, or even just being like collaborative in the household, you know what I mean? Something being like fair and equitable around like chores. You know what I mean? Like really simple stuff is also coming to mind, right? The Fool talks about starting new journeys, but this Fool feels very naive. They feel very juvenile. They feel very undeveloped, right? And this Tower card is showing that it's creating chaos, right? The Tower card is the card of upsets and like travesties and tragedies, but this just feels like chaos. It kind of feels like your home dynamic is a little bit chaotic. And in some ways, maybe this causes people to be like mean or like evil spirited towards each other, but it honestly doesn't feel that malicious. It just honestly feels like that there's no order. There's no order. There's no order in that household. There's no organization. There's no structure, right? And honestly, I don't feel like it's anybody's fault, right? Because the funny thing is, it like It's so stormy. It's storming. Can you hear the rain and the thunder? And y'all got the tower card, which is crazy. Right? But anyway, to continue on with the reading, sorry for rambling. It feels like that all that energy, all that collaboration, all that protective energy, it's being taken it's being like done outside of the house, but it's not being done inside of the household. Right? Like it feels like it's not that your family is unable to be collaborative or to help each other or to look at things in a mature and structured way, but it feels like maybe everybody's like working a lot, or maybe even they're a little self-sacrificial, maybe for a lack of a better phrase. They're always showing up for other people, but they don't know how to show for themselves, and because they don't show up for themselves, their homes are kind of in disarray. You know what I mean? It's not always organized. There's always a broken piece of furniture or a broken appliance, you know um and again, it's like and then it's kind of hard to read because the energy is just so chaotic. It kind of feels like things are everywhere, not in a hoarding way, but things are kind of disheveled. There's no organization, there's no systems to help things like flow in an easy and manageable and a predictable nature. And again, Cancer, it rules the mother, but Cancer is all about safety, right? When we think about Cancer, it's ruled by the crab. It has this hard shell. It has this hard exterior because the things contained on the inside are supposed to be soft, like crab meat. I don't know if you eat seafood boils and crab, but they have these hard shells, these hard structures on the outside. Even when you think about a house, right? It's funny because I'm looking at the house across the street from me that's currently being built. There's wood, right? There's wood and these hard materials and sometimes concrete and brick on the inside, so that in the inside there can be soft materials like blankets and fabrics, you know what I mean? And bread and yummy food, right? And it just doesn't feel like that your family or your system has maybe any boundaries or any protective structures inside or outside of the home, so that it can feel soft, safe, cozy, and comfortable. Yeah. Okay. But it's good to know that that's the ancestral like trauma. I'm gonna try not to use the word curse moving forward because I don't like to like manifest that energy. But this is the energy that you're actively healing and addressing. Right? Can we get some insight on what pile number 1 can do to help navigate and heal this energy, please and thank you? Look at this. This is another Fool card. What can pile number 1 do to help navigate this energy? Okay, do you have fun in the house? Do you have fun in the house? This high priestess, I'm getting a couple of different things, but the first reason why I asked is like if you have fun, because even though the Fool card is immature, this is also coming up in like your solution and your action plan. And the Fool card doesn't care about the outcome. And kind of what I'm seeing is that maybe you're looking at like all this hard work. Like if I feel like the person listening to this reading right now, you see this chaos and you have, oh my gosh, it's mess everywhere. It's never organized. Everybody's so chaotic. Nobody does anything that they're supposed to. And I get the sense that you get increasingly frustrated, right? And this Sun card is saying like, your frustration is valid, but what if we can make it fun? Right? What if we can make it fun? What if we can make a cute little game, out of like, okay, who can clean up the fastest? You know what I mean? And this can be two ways, right? If you're still living with your family, you can suggest these things. And I'm also getting like color coordination. The Sun card is connected to children in the 5th house, which is connected to play and creativity and imagination, right? And what I was saying is like, if you're still living with like your parents, right, you can do this, but you can also do this in your own household, right? If you feel like your siblings and your parents or your nuclear family, they're too rigid when it comes to like changing some of these things, I'm not going to say completely give up, but some of this is saying that like you're going to be able to heal this with your own family, with your own children. You know what I mean? And it's more of like a vibrational thing more than anything. Maybe if you begin to like as you're going around like cleaning the kitchen or creating organizations and structures, like you're playing music. There's like so much like fun and creativity and imagination connected to it, right? And then this high priestess, I'm sorry, it's a piece of my hair. This high priestess is saying that it's intuitive, that it's energetic, that it's spiritual, right? That the best way for you to do this is kind of like on a, not a lower vibration, but at a low hum. This is actually something that you're going to be doing and accomplishing subtly. It's not going to be up front and in front and loud and in everybody's faces. You know what I mean? It's kind of like an energetic adjustment that you make within yourself. And when you make it within yourself, other people are going to be able to see it. And if they don't see it, they're going to feel it, right? And they're going to take after you. Anything else? I feel like I need to get you just a couple more cards. Yes. Like I was saying, this is that energy I was picking up on. We're kind of running out of space, but here's what I'll do. I'll actually slide these down here, and then I'll pull your other cards out. Right? Then you have the Justice card, the Emperor card, and the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Yet again, this is so crazy. That we got the Fool card. The Fool card came out twice, and the Three of Pentacles in reverse came out twice. But again, like, reversals aren't always a bad thing. And I teach this in my tarot class, that they're not always a bad thing because they can be expressed differently. That doesn't mean they're a bad thing. That's just what the energy is, right? But with this Emperor card, it feels like that you're going to be putting on, the pants in the family, for a lack of a better phrase. And this may not be like you being the most masculine figure, but when it comes to you organizing and structuring things and wisening up, you're going to have to take charge there, right? If you're a feminine energy, this is, like, and I'm not trying to hop into nobody's family dynamics, but this is like the man, like your husband takes care of the bills. And when it comes to the house and the cooking and the chores, everything that goes on inside of the house, that's your role. That's what you take charge of, right? This Emperor card is kind of telling me that, if you got pushback from this thing growing up, some of you, this may not apply to everybody, but some of you might have felt like disempowered when it came to like finding solutions in the house, and your ancestors, they're giving you the go ahead. You can actually feel in charge with your own family to take lead and to take charge and do that. And you see it, like you have the logic here, right? The Justice card talks about things being logical and orderly and fair. And if that wasn't what you experienced growing up, it's kind of funny that that was what you saw, because you didn't see that, you kind of intuitively know what doesn't make sense and what doesn't work, right? And so in that way, it's actually better for you to take charge here and not to be like, this Three of Pentacles in reverse feels like you don't need to be collaborative, but I'm not going to say that's what it is, right? Like, I kind of feel like some of you, or some people in this pile, like you kind of feel like you have to ask permission, right? Like you kind of feel like, oh, what do you think about if we organize the dishes this way? Organize the dishes this way, or put the furniture over here, right? Or if you did X, Y, and Z. These cards are saying you need to feel comfortable taking charge and taking lead and saying, hey, this is what needs to happen because this is going to work. If it doesn't work, I'm open to suggestions, but this is what we need to do first off, right? The Emperor card also talks about like leadership. It's connected to Aries energy and taking initiative, right? So that's what I'm getting. So your action plan to healing the disorderly of like, your lineage or your family or your heritage is to feel comfortable taking lead and like charging it. And if it's in your nuclear family and you receive a lot of like pushback, just kind of do it on your own and then wait for the people in your family to like respond or to see how it makes more sense or how it works better for you, right? This could be like a sign to be more collaborative. Again, how it's going to apply. Okay, I'm going to go over to your Oracle cards. You did get 2 of these. I'm trying to see if you can see them. I'm trying to see what should I do. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to move this up just a little bit. I always have a hard time, getting everything on the table so that you can see everything. But this will work. I'm going to slide her up here. So you have Queen Mother Nani, liberation. Okay, cool. You have Allah, grief. And then love notes from the universe. And then you also have Palo Santo, guardian, right? I'm going to start with this one. You were born with that it quality. I kind of love that for you. You were born with that it quality. Do you want to know what's really beautiful? Confidence. Do you want to know what's really powerful? Persistence. Do you want to know what's really sexy? Please, I know about sexy. Not needing to be needed. And if still they don't notice your good looks, your strength, and your sachet, could you feel more sorry for them? Tally ho, the universe. Again, so we're tapping back into that energy of that, like, you know what's up. You know what makes sense. You know how things are supposed to go, right? And if people don't want to yield to you, or if people don't want to take your advice or your suggestions on how to make the family household structure more organized, more stable, make it feel more cozy, you could be like, all right, girl, that's your loss. Because I'm going to implement these changes anyway. It's going to happen for me and my greatest good anyway. So you ain't got to worry about it, right? There's a little bit of that energy in here. I'm going to go over to Queen Nani, liberation. Give you a second to look at the card. Child, I'll be trying to find a camera. Queen Mother Nani, liberation. Okay. This is the wrong book. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, the Temple of Queens and her element is fire. Queen Mother Nani of the Maroons was a spiritual leader, military strategist, and revolutionary, much like that Emperor card. This Ashanti healer was brought to Jamaica in chains and escaped to lead rebellions. Nani helped to free over 800 enslaved people. Queen Mother Nani's guidance. Break free. Your dreams hold the power and the keys to your liberation. You are freedom herself. Rise up. The embodiment. You deserve to feel free. What do you imagine for yourself? Daring to manifest your dreams is a part of your personal liberation. Find your own personal liberation codes and your soul's unspoken desires. Life is too short to live within someone else's story. Divine blessings and magic are on your side. Enjoying your freedom fully is the best gift to your ancestors. And then your goddess declaration is, my dreams empower me. And this really feels like freeing yourself from this structure or this way of operating, that feels oppressive. It's almost as like, part of it feels like maybe your family doesn't know any better, right? Because if they knew better, they do better, but you actually know better. And you have the keys to free yourself. It's like, I'm not going to live like this anymore. You know what I mean? This may be a societal pressure, or they may be immigrants or come from slavery, or, following some old archaic systems, right? That don't make people feel happy and free. And you recognize that it's not useful anymore. And you actually have the power to free yourself. Ashe to that. Okay. After that, we have Allah 29, grief. This is the Temple of Lovers and the element of bush. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Thank you. I feel like I'm going to need some more light in a second. Okay. Ancient Earth Mother Allah is the foremost Igbo Alusi deity. Goddess Allah oversees motherhood, fertility, and the afterlife. After death, humans return to the womb of Allah, replanted in the soul to reincarnate. Allah's guidance. Give spirit your grief. Bawl it out, wail it out, cry it out. Sob, shriek, shed tears, and surrender. And then the embodiment. You are holding unprocessed grief. You want to skip over it and get back to normal. But grief doesn't go away because you ignore it. The only way to healing is to walk through it. Losing a loved one is the ultimate heartbreak. But you also experience grief after breakups, job loss, and disappointments. Self-love and self-care are required. Ask for support and be gentle with yourself. And the goddess declaration is, I am supported by my loved ones, those who are seen and those who are unseen. I'm kind of picking up on the grief here, if I'm being honest. And if this don't apply, let it fly. It does feel like somebody's like, there was an elder, maybe like a maternal feminine figure that passed away. And she was one of the people who was maybe like the glue to your family, or she was maybe one of the sources for the ways that your family that operated at its prime, and the ways that you're looking towards, where there's organization and there's strategy and there's collaboration and there's emotional comfort and healing. And you just may feel the loss, right? And you may be so frustrated with the way that everybody is behaving that you're having a hard time, honestly becoming the new matriarch, right? That's kind of what it feels like, if I'm being really, really honest. And this, that may not, just take it how it resonates. You know what I mean? I don't want to make assumptions about anybody's gender expression. You may need to be the patriarch, and lead with a soft heart, right? But more than anything, like, if you need to grieve. If you need to grieve. You know what I mean? Because only through that are you going to be able to shake this energy off and continue down the road and do the things that you need to do. Yes, my loves? Okay. I hope this resonates. Let me move on to the last one, Palo Santo. I feel like this one is going to be a little long. It's going to be a little bit of a long reading. Okay, Palo Santo 55, Guardian. Okay, cool. Give me 2 seconds. I'm actually going to turn the lights on. Like the lighting's not bad. Y'all can see. Okay, but this is a little better for me. Yeah. I don't think it makes much difference to y'all. Okay. Upright. Gifts from past lives. Activating dormant gifts. Connecting to the ancestors. Guardian of the sacred and the sacred trickster. Reversed. Dormant gifts. It is upright. Living in the past. Latent abilities and karmic inheritance. Okay, we love to see it. The astrological ruler is the South Node and Pluto. The ritualistic burning of Palo Santo, which translate to sacred holy wood, can be traced back to the Incan Empire, where it was used in spiritual ceremonies to cleanse the body and space of malignant darkness. To this day, it is used ritualistically among many indigenous communities throughout Central and South America, particularly to cleanse bad energy, bad air, and the evil eye. Mal de air, translated to bad air and evil eye. Mal de air, translated to bad air, yet it is a spiritual illness, believed to be a kind of cold nightmare air, created by malignant spirits that enters the body, causing pain, discomfort, sickness, and many other kinds of imbalances. Incan medicine people used the wood in their religious rituals as a tool to neutralize negativity, rejuvenate the body and mind in spaces, bring peace, balance, and good fortune, and achieve a better spiritual connection with their gods. Scientific studies now show how Palo Santo can help relieve stress and anxiety, stimulate circulation, reduce joint and muscle pain, and uplift mood and the immune system. It has also proven to cleanse the space, dispel bacteria, and act as an insect repellent. Palo Santo's medicinal qualities are very, plutonic in nature, as it powerfully cleanses malignant energy while being wholly invocatory and perfect for strong intentional getting. Palo Santo has a long history of use as a magic wand that unlocks innate gifts that have lain dormant, inactive, or blocked, like wisdom, intuition, and the sight to see in the past of past lives. I did not mean to read all that. Usually I just read the guidance, but I was just reading through that, and I think that you need to be using Palo Santo. Right? It feels like that, like burning Palo Santo in your home and your house will help clear out those energies, making sure that you're opening the windows so that the energy has somewhere to go. Sometimes when we smudge, people just leave their doors closed, which don't make no sense. You got to open the windows and open your doors so the energy has somewhere to go, and it can be replaced with the beautiful energy that Palo Santo is going to leave. Okay, but now the guidance says, Palo Santo is a protective wand that grants us the power of unlocking innate gifts that have laid dormant, inactive, or blocked. Palo Santo, like the fox, is here to assist you as a spirit guide who helps you navigate the spiritual world. The Sakuran foxes, native to South America, nestle among the desert forests of Palo Santo for shelter, living in symbiosis with these precious trees. Foxes are symbolic of the afterlife, invisibility, and the sacred trickster. Palo Santo neutralizes the venom of dark tricksters and alchemizes its poison into gold, becoming the sacred trickster. Palo Santo is here to remind you to activate your dormant gifts. You are a guardian of the sacred that has walked many paths. Know that you can neutralize the greatest of poisons and even outwit the smartest of tricksters. Yes, my loves? Okay, that concludes Palo One's reading. That was a little lengthy. But please thank your ancestors, spirit guides, and angels for allowing me to deliver these messages to you. If you'd like further insights, please always feel free to go down to the description bar and check out my link where you can book a private reading with me. But yeah, that's all. And until next time, this is XOMO. Bye-bye. Alrighty, if you chose pile number 2, you chose the Chrysocolla crystal. This crystal is awesome at relieving like bad feelings of like guilt or shame or feeling sorry for yourself or feeling pitiful or pathetic or anything like that. Chrysocolla is really good for like addressing those feelings and the root of them so that we can process them and release them. It's not necessarily going to give you confidence, but it's going to clear out the emotional baggage that makes you feel as if that you can't be confident, right? I'm actually excited to check out what this pile has going on because a lot of cards came out for this pile. Yeah, but yes, again, in this reading, we're going to address what generational curses are you addressing? And I'm going to try not to use that word. I'm going to use generational traumas. You know, words are important. But what generational traumas are you healing? And we're going to get you an action plan on how you can attack them and make sure that your lineage and your ancestors and your descendants don't have to deal with them any further in the future. Right? So we have the 8 of Cups in reverse, followed by the Moon card in reverse, the 6 of Swords in reverse, the World card, and the 2 of Pentacles. So this feels really clear. So I don't know if your family deals with like, I was going to say anxiety, but this may be like a little bit of depression. Right? This 8 of Cups and the 6 of Swords, both of these cards are in reverse, which are about moving on to the next step. Right? The 6 of Swords is about taking the leap of faith or just moving on to a new chapter, to a new journey to try something else. The 8 of Cups is about like when we deal with an emotional situation and we're just like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm not going to get anything else out of this situation. I've gotten all that I can get, and I actually want something else, something new, something different. Right? With the Moon card in reverse, in between these two cards, it feels like that there's so much anxiety and stress wrapped up into these energies that like it seems like your family or your ancestors or your lineage, they've had a hard time moving on. And with this Wheel of Fortune and 2 of Pentacles, like that fear and that anxiety, I'm getting it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? What it actually feels like is that like this 2 of Pentacles talks about carrying things, that you're actually supposed to do things while being depressed, right? You're maybe not depressed, maybe that's not it. But like, again, if it don't apply, let it fly. But maybe fearful or having anxiety or having your fight or flight response, you know, being triggered. It's so funny. Like before I started doing this, like I was listening to Bashar, and one of the things that he said, you're going to be scared anyway. So if you're going to be scared, you might as well do the things that you want to do or the things that you love to do and do those things scared as opposed to doing nothing and being scared. Right? And that's kind of what this World card feels like. This World card feels like that the fear and the anxiety and the in the lack of surety or confidence, or things not being concrete or planned out or misty and murky, that's a part of life. That's a part of the process, right? But this Two of Pentacles feels like you do things anyway. You keep the wheel moving. You accomplish, you succeed, you move on to the next chapter by carrying those feelings with you and heading out anyway. Right? So that's what the lesson feels like here. Like to keep going, don't stop. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be nervous. It's just not okay to stop going, to stop trying. Yeah? Okay, so what other information or insights do we have for pile number 2? Please and thank you. Like, is your family strict? This one is to be upright, and I believe it was this one and this one. I feel like your family is strict. Ooh, and then look, we got a hidden card. Yeah, it kind of feels like your family is really, really strict. And when I say strict, it's more strict in the way they have to be strict with this Hierophant at the bottom of the deck. There's just no other way. I feel like that they have to be strict. And I say that because like this Page of Wands here with this Three of Wands in reverse, they're like, you have to have a well thought out plan. You have to go the predictable route. You have to do what everybody says is a good idea. It's kind of like your parents say, okay, you're going to get straight A's in schools, and then after school, you're going to go to college to be a doctor or a lawyer. Those are your options, right? Because that's how you get a good job, and that's how you make a livable wage. And you're going to go to the most respectable college in town, and you're not going to do any of that artsy-fartsy stuff and none of that. Your family does not seem like that they are risk takers at all. They don't take no risk, right? With this Page of Wands and this Three of Wands in reverse. And with this card sitting in the middle of the reading, because I also like to look at the spread and how these cards are communicating. With the Temperance card, it feels like they're not entirely wrong, but they're not entirely right either. Right? There needs to be a little wiggle room. There needs to be room for give and take. There needs to be a little bit of room for disappointment, right? Three of Swords in reverse. Okay, we got to be disappointed sometimes. We can't live our lives running away from disappointment. We can't live our lives running away from failure. So this is another quote. There's all these quotes coming to me for y'all. Y'all people might speak in like quotes or like riddles or proverbs, right? I think it's like Adam Sandler who spoke about that, like his dad went and got a corporate job or something like that, right? And his dad actually wanted to be something else, but he went and got a corporate job and he worked there for years, and then he ended up getting fired. And he felt like a failure. Right? And then his dad realized, or this could be Adam Sandler himself. You know, I'm a Gemini. I be piecing things together. Moral of the story is that you can fail, again, you can fail doing something that you love, or you can fail doing something that's safe. You can fail doing what society is telling you to, with this Hierophant here is doing, or you can fail doing something that you feel passionate about. Right? But if you fail doing something that you love doing, at the end of the day, you at the very least get to say that you got to do things that you love doing. Right? Does that make sense? And that's where true value lives. That's what I'm getting. That's true value. True value is understanding, again, that like disappointment is a part of the process. Failure is a part of the process. It's not being completely willy-nilly. You know what I mean? You're not completely, there's no order, no structure. But if you want to be an artist, if you want to be creative, let's say you want to be a professional clown, right? I'm just like, or you want to be a content creator, you know what I mean? Or you want to be a dancer, you know, careers where people typically say that you'll be a struggling artist or there's no stability there, whoop-de-whoop-wop-de-wop, whatever it is. If that's what you want to do, if that's what your heart is calling you to do, you can do that, but you can do it with a little bit of structure. You know what I mean? Take a class and then go in and like network with the class. And then once you're networking with the class, maybe there's a showcase at the end of the class and then you get an agent, right? There's some type of structure and organization that's not completely wrong, because the Temperance card talks about having a little bit of this and a little bit of that and running away from extremity, right? And I feel like that's at the center of this. There's patience, there's fortitude, there's bravery, there's courage. You know what I mean? There's so many good things here when we're able to work with a little bit of this and a little bit of that and not feeling stuck or extreme in one way or another. Ooh. Yes, my loves? Okay, let's get your cards. Okay, so you got 2 of these cards. I'm going to slide these. I'm going to slide these up. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. I might have to turn my overhead lights on. What y'all think? Do y'all think I need to turn my overhead lights on? Or is this like nice, cute, and cozy lighting? I think what I'm gonna do, but let me see. From the African Goddess Oracle deck, you have Sache, grounding. From the Herbal Astrology deck, you have commune. And I'm gonna read these 2 cards from Love Notes from the Universe. There's a deeper reason for each of your questions. Seek it. Guidance, attention, help, maybe. Love, always. Criticism, never. The question was what to give others, if anything at all. Isn't it fun being you? The universe. And again, this just feels like I'm picking up on the energy that your family's a little bit strict and they critique things. Like maybe their critiques are a little bit harsh. And again, it's not about what you should do or what society believes or what's the best thing to do. It's more about what do you want to do? What gifts have God given you? And what are those gifts that you end up giving to the world? Yeah, I really do feel like you're meant to bring like a sense of like bravery and adventure into your lineage. Dwell on what you love. Again, there's that love feature. Okay, asking someone to change is like pruning a tree. Neither will ever be the same again. Scarier still is that you can't quite know in what new directions they'll grow. That's true. I wouldn't change you. I wouldn't change a leaf on you. Love the universe. This is beautiful too. I think the funny thing is like maybe your family members, they want to change you into something that's a little more straight, a little more strict on the straight and narrow path. But if they do that, you might not even turn out the way that they want you to turn out. And you might want them to be a little bit more flexible, but no tea, no shade. Your parents might be the type of people where like they super strict because if they not super strict, they ain't got no structure. Some people don't have no in between. I feel like you have the possibility to manifest your in between or your temperance, for lack of a better phrase, but some people don't have it. No tea, no shade. Okay, up next we have Sache, grounding. The temple of the ancestors and the element of bush. You may know great ancestor Sache or Satji or Sarah Botman, the woman forced to perform as a Hottentot Venus in the 19th century London. But before that, she was Sache, a Kyokian girl in South Africa who deserved better. Sache's guidance. Protect your magic. Your heart is your own. Your body is your own. Your mind is your own. Your truth and story are your own. Be rooted in your truth and create healthy boundaries. And then the embodiment. Your energy is unsteady. Breathe. Come into the present. Say out loud, I am here. Trauma, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, and fear disconnect you from your body. Grounding keeps you present. Again, those emotions with that moon card in reverse. When you feel rootless or unsettled, come back to your breath. Meditation and breath work are grounding. Try earthing, connecting your feet to the soil. Free writing, clapping, stomping, and rubbing your hands together are all grounding. And then the goddess declaration. I'm firmly planted and deeply rooted. Right? This is just something that's coming through But like maybe like working with drums or dancing is really, really good for you. If you can find like an African dance class, if that's your type of thing, even if you're like Indian, and you need to, there's like, it's like ritualistic and indigenous drums that I'm hearing, and I'm kind of even feeling them in my feet. You know what I mean? There's this like drumming that you need to feel grounded. If you haven't tried it out, I would try it out. Girl, this could be as simple as, finding some playlist on YouTube or on Apple Music or Spotify and whatever, and playing those around your house. But drumming is really, really good and healing for you. And you may even be a dancer, because I keep getting this like dancing vibe. Right? Okay. Now we're going to go to psilocybin commune. It's very much a cozy rainy day. It's a rainy summer. Okay, upright. Communing with the sacred, connecting to otherworldly energy, remote viewing, regeneration through union, coming together with the tribe, and finding your cosmic family. Reversed. Disconnection, lacking community, fear of merging with others, lack of interest in connection, soul loss, and pain from the past. And the astrological rulers are Pluto and the Sun. The guidance. Los Niños Santos have come to tell you that you have arrived to your place of power. They are beacons of light on earth and offer psychic healing on a collective level. Los Niños Santos are telling you to tune in and to commune with the ancestors and the powers that be to further develop your power. Psilocybin floods our body with light codes, loosening the knots we volunteer to protect through the journey of life. Don't resist the profound teachings. Relax into the higher mind as you commune with its loving awareness. As you find home within commune with others and experiences that support you, connect to nature and the extensive community of energies that are lovingly there awaiting your conscious arrival. Commune with the spirits and channel the wisdom provided with sure-footed spontaneity. That's my love. And then even with like this, like, if this don't apply, let it fly. But there's something about like this thunder and this lightning going on that feels like, don't be afraid to like shake it up a little bit. Right? If you practice Ifa or anything like that and work with Oya, I wouldn't be afraid of it. But yeah, this is definitely saying don't be afraid to shake it up a little bit. Yes, my loves? Okay, that's all I have for you. I hope this helps. Please thank your ancestors, spirit guides, and angels for allowing me to deliver these messages to you. And always remember, if you'd like to get a personal reading, or if you want to get a little more insight on what you need to do specifically, because these are general readings for a large audience, all of these decks can be found in my Amazon storefront. Check out the link in my bio for more information. I love y'all, and until next time, this is XMO. Bye-bye. If you chose pal number 3, I don't know what this is. I'm so sorry. Yes, I do. I do and I don't. I think this is a celestial quartz. That's what I believe this is. It's celestial quartz, and this crystal is really good for connecting us to our higher selves and for breaking the glass ceiling, right? And allowing us to see how much is possible, what it is that we can achieve, accessing the abundance found in our imaginations and all of the vibrations and frequencies available to us here on Earth. Yeah, I'm gonna put your oracle cards to the side. Beep bop bay, shooby hey hey, hey 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 hey. I feel like these need to be moved. Okay, that feels better. Okay, number three. Okay, this is so interesting to me. Pal number 3. Okay, I'm good on battery life. I just had to check that out. Okay, so pal number 3. This feels like religious and spiritual freedom. Right? If I'm being so honest and so clear. Well, at least for some of you, this is spiritual and religious like freedom. The Wheel of Fortune is connected to the planet of Jupiter. The Lover's card, it's connected to the sign of Gemini, right? And then the 7 of Wands, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is Leo energy. I could be wrong. but it's Leo or Sagittarius energy, right? But I say that today to say, like, the planet of Jupiter, it connects to like higher wisdom and spirituality and beliefs, and not in a religious way, right? But more in a like a spiritual laws, like a spiritual truth. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a higher wisdom, a higher frequency type of like spirituality that we get from Jupiter, and not necessarily religion. Excuse me, or like religious structures or like Bibles and books, right? Like a way to explain it is that like Saturn would be more like Christianity in the Bible and the Pope. Jupiter is the wisdom that you feel. You know, how the lessons you walk away found in the Bible change and influence your life. It's so much bigger and philosophical there, right? And then the Lover's cards always connects to, it can't talk about divine unions, but I believe this is Archangel Michael, right? And it talks about like deities and higher wisdom and honestly being connected to our ancestors, spirit guides, and angels, the Most High, and divine wisdom. And then it's funny because like kind of what I'm getting with this, with Archangel Michael, if you're not familiar with working with him, he's a little bit of like a war spirit. Maybe not like a war spirit. That might not be the right way to say it, but he don't mind going to battle. Archangel Michael will make some shit shake. For lack of a better phrase. Right? And then just seeing it paired with the Seven of Wands feels like, I don't know. I feel like that either you're breaking away from your family religiously or spiritually, and sometimes you feel like their spiritual beliefs don't exactly align with you, and it doesn't have to be that like, you know, like completely like extreme, like that like you're an atheist or anything, or you're changing from like Christianity to Islam, or you know, you start practicing Buddhism. Like it could be that, but it kind of feels like a subtle shift, right? It feels like if your family's Catholic, you want to be a Baptist Christian, right? Or it could be one of those more like, you know, drastic changes I was mentioning earlier. But just really what I'm feeling like is that you're here to teach your family or to break away from your family from the religious structures or the way of operating with religion and spirituality that feel oppressive, right? And I believe that religion is here to help connect us to God or to support our way through life here on earth. You know what I mean? And always check your sources, right? Because I believe that the source material for the tarot is the tarot reader, and this message is being colored, you know, by my belief system, right? But I say all that to say that like it may feel like that like some of your family members they practice religions in a way that feel oppressive, or they practice a religion or a spirituality that doesn't make them happy. It doesn't make them feel good. It kind of feels like maybe like self-punishing, right? Where yes, it gives them clear and strict guidelines on what to do and what not to do, but it doesn't make them happy or fulfilled or give them a feeling as if they're being connected to God. Yeah. And I feel like you see through the some of the flaws or the mishaps that can happen, you know, when people, you know, give their agency up to religion or religious leaders instead of keeping ownership of their agency and their self-empowerment and using that as a tool to connect themselves to God, but giving their connection to God through like a third party or like a false idol. Whew. That was a lot. Well, let's get your action plan. How are you going to continue to heal this generational trauma? I'm not going to use the word curse anymore, just because, you know, our words are powerful, and we're in the process of healing these energies and breaking them down. Ashe, ashe. So how is pal number 3 going to navigate this energy? Please and thank you. Look at this. Yes. Yeah, so I don't know if you have masculine energy, but it feels like that you may have masculine energy. right? It can really go either way with this Empress card here, but this King of Cups, it kind of feels like you have like a masculine way of like dealing with your emotions or being like an emotional leader in your life, or maybe even with your family. Yeah, and here goes that Hierophant again. You might have resonated with pile number 2, because they got the Hierophant as well, right? Um, anyway, yeah. So the funny thing here is like, so I feel like another issue that you have with with the religion that your family is practicing, or that like your ancestors or your generational trauma around religion, is that they maybe don't have respect for women, right? Or women don't have as much power or validity as men have, right? And it feels as if you're like very masculine in the way that you combat that, right? We have the 5 of Wands in reverse, and it feels like you want to argue your parents down, or your grandparents or your cousins and uncles. Again, you know your family dynamic. It kind of feels like you want to argue them down, and maybe it could be argue because it feels like you come to them with an open heart. You want to show them the light or show them the way. These are just the images that I'm getting. You know what I mean? But it ends up like blowing up in your face because they get hostile or really weird in a way, right? And so that's the thing. So like the King of Wands, he does make an emotional offering. He does take the emotional lead of like, hey, I want to show you something, right? But it feels like that your action plan is to actually use more of your feminine energy, right? And then the feminine way of leadership, it's a little more suggesting. You know what I mean? So when you see somebody like experience something, it's like, I feel like you should read this book. You know what I mean? I feel like you should watch this YouTube video. And maybe if you're not giving them a resource, it could be like, oh, I feel like this in this situation, right? But you know the whole while that this is connected to like a spiritual practice or a spiritual belief that you have, you know what I mean? But you're not outright putting it out there. And so the way it's a bit of a transition. This does kind of feel like in some ways of like pile number 2, where I feel like the Temperance card may even be like a relevant energy, where you're like tempering, you're taking your time. Because right now with this 5 of Wands in reverse and this 9 of Wands in reverse, it feels like that it's such a battle. 7 of Wands on the board as well. It feels like it's such an exhausting battle to have these conversations. It just really feels like that you don't need to be having like conversations or debates or like, why would you believe that, or can you prove it, or can't you see da 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 da. It feels like all this fiery energy, it isn't getting you anywhere. And honestly, it kind of feels like the opposite of the spiritual lessons that you're learning. It really feels like the divine wants you to live in your feminine energy as you navigate this. And again, say, well, I feel like you should look at this. Or what if you thought about it from this perspective? And again, you're not bringing these issues to your family members or to your lineage or so on and so forth. It's more as like if somebody brings something to you, or if they're having a trouble, or if they're having an issue with their life, you just say, oh, well, this is what I think. You know, no context, right? This Page of Swords in reverse can sometimes be a little secretive, but it just kind of feels like you don't give them too much information, because it feels like once you give them too much information, they're going to be resistant, and then they're going to fight you, and then it's going to blow up, and then it's going to be argument, and then it's going to be too much. Right? And you know that. This Hermit card in reverse feels like, you know, again, this 5 of Swords. Again, like, do they like yelling and arguing? Is that it? Do the religious debates always get like a little bit hostile in your house? Yeah, that's what I feel like it is. And this is slow and steady wins the race, because it doesn't feel like, because again, it feels like whatever the religion is, your mama did it, your grandmama did it, your great grandmama did it, your great 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 grandmama did it. It feels like it goes far back, right? So this isn't necessarily, some of this kind of feels like, I'm not sure if this is the right phrase, but like spiritual convergence or cultural diffusion. I might be making words up, but what this feels like is that you keep at it for so long that what you're really doing is you're incorporating it into your family and your lineage and your descendants, right? And then it'll slowly start to influence your family members, and it's just not something that you come flat out and say, but it's a slow and steady transition that happens over a certain period of time. I'm sorry, I did not mean to put these cards away. Yes. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move these up, and then we're gonna tap into Your oracle cards. Let's get these oracle cards going, girl. Okay. Okay, cool. So you just got one. This is the first deck to just have one of each. I'm going to start off with your love notes from the universe. So this one says, sometimes the good is hidden. Wasn't I just saying that? Wasn't I just saying that you do it a little bit covert? That you do it undercover? That you do it a little naturally? That you do it with the subconscious feminine emotional energy? And that you're not just coming straight out and saying the thing? Find the good in what they said or asked. It's always there, even if they didn't mean it for it, even if they didn't mean for it to be there. Sometimes this feels like, you know, debating with like a family member and they just want to argue, but you're making the same point, but they don't like your perspective about it. You know what I mean? Bob the drag queen says this all the time, but like, you're in the parking lot, just park the car. Anyway, Sherlockly yours, the universe. P.S. Clues for what you want are hidden all around you. Up next, you have tobacco. I love tobacco. Tobacco is it's just a lovely, 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 like herb to connect to your plant ancestors more than anything, but also your ancestors. You can even see here that it says offering. So this could be like a peace offering, if that's your vibe. 24. Upright. Power. Ofrenda, which means offering. Divine gift. Invocation. Respect. Deep alignment with will and purpose. And I'm getting I feel like you may need to give like a family member like an olive branch. Right? It feels like y'all just have like very strong opinions. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like you might have resonated with pile number 2. Let me finish. Reversed. Illusion of power. Power hungry. Lack of respect. Inner conflict. Addiction. Stuck in habits. Fear of failure. The astrological ruler is Mars and Pluto. The guidance. The gods of power are here to serve, and they demand loving respect. Tobacco reminds us to utilize power compassionately. How we use and direct this power determines the quality of life. Offer your actions as a divine gift, selflessly and in service to the sacred. Grandfather Tobacco's protective and powerful energy lovingly opens the doorway to the spirit world to those who ask with humility and with respect. Don't allow the illusions of power to ignite destructive behaviors or to propel you towards addictive habits. Again, there's this power. There's this power of I got to be in control and I got to be right, or I got to be the one on top and I got to prove everybody's wrong. And it can come, I feel like this energy can honestly come, it's probably coming a little bit more, from your family members. But the apple don't fall from the tree, no truth, no tea, no shade. Right? And kind of a question I'm getting is do you want to be right, or do you want to have a healthy dynamic with your family? Right? And I feel like the healthy dynamic is going to be a little more important. And then the way that you navigate that healthy dynamic is better. Right? Okay, noonday, truth. Yeah, I want y'all to see the cards. You see what I'm saying? This light over here barely helping. Okay. Let me grab the right book. Okay. Goddess of Truth, Benin. The Temple of the Griots and the Element of Water. Noonday, the bold, outspoken wife of Benin Iwa, a deity Legba, was feeling neglected by her husband. Even with several wives, his head easily turned. So Noonday lived her truth, took her own lover, and became her own best friend. I know that's right. Noonday's guidance. Get real. What is your truth? Truth-telling matters. Being able to hear the truth matters just as much. Embodiment. Tell the truth. Each person has their own version. Speak yours. Words have impact. Remember that we all have triggers. Think before you speak and listen with compassion. Be gentle and stay calm in truth telling conversations. And the goddess declaration is, my truth is my friend. And the beautiful thing I feel about this, again, in the context of this reading, I feel like your truth is not everybody's truth. I get another thing that we get when we talk about Jupiter, right? It's our belief systems, right? And I think it's a Kemetic principle. Is it a Kemetic principle from the Kabbalion? I'm not sure. I need to read up on it. But like everything is mental, which is just that like our physical, our spiritual, and our emotional realities are shaped by our mental capacities and our belief systems, right? So your truth may be different from somebody else's truth. You know what I mean? And there's also a need to respect the truth that everybody else has. And just because somebody doesn't see the truth as your truth doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. Especially when we start talking about these spiritual concepts and religions, right? Sometimes they can be wrong. But if somebody's belief system is different than yours, then their truth by nature will have to be different. Yes, my loves? I hope this makes sense. And I hope this helps. Please thank your ancestors, spirit guides, and angels for allowing me to deliver these messages to you. And until next time, this is XML. I'll talk to y'all later. And again, if you want to get more insights on how I can help you or your family specifically, or any more specific work that you need to do or focus in on, feel free to check out my booking link in the description bar below. But that will be all for now. And yeah, I'll holla.